In View, you will render often to preview scenes as you create and modify. A series of buttons exist across the top of the 3D View window used to preview renders. This first button here is the View Display Options. If I click on it, a context window will open. And there are several settings here, and some of these settings also exist in these other buttons, but some of them are unique to this button, such as how you want this main camera view. Do you want it to be a top view, front view, side view, perspective view, or just main camera view, which is the default? The second button is the Quick Render or Quick Render Options. If you left click, it's going to be Quick Render, and if you right click, it's going to be Quick Render Options. There's a little triangle in the corner of the button to indicate that it is a double action button. So if I right click, we see our render options. We can do a preview render, final, broadcast, superior, ultra, or user level render. The next button over is display last render, the last colored render. If I click this button, it will display in the main camera view in this 3D view the last color channel, the color channel of the last render. The next button over does the exact same thing as the color render, except it shows us the last alpha channel. The next button over is the same thing as the alpha channel, except it's for depth channel. And then this button over here, which is kind of grayed out because I didn't use these settings in my render, is to display multipass, mask, and G buffers. This option is only available if rendering of multipass, mask, or G buffer is enabled. This option displays the different multipass render components, masks, or the contents of the G buffer. And then the next three buttons kind of all go together, where the middle one shows us the current G buffer layer. And then the button to the left of it lets us decrement current G buffer layer, and the button to the right of it allows us to increment G buffer layer. And this button over here, if we click on it, opens a dialog box which shows us the post-render options. So when you get done rendering, you're always going to have this post-render options where you can go in here and adjust the hue, the brightness, saturation, gain, density, kind of like what you can do in Photoshop with an image. The last button allows you to save the rendered image. So if I click this button, a Save As window will open, allowing us to save this image in a variety of formats.